Hi guys, welcome to episode 6 of the Off Meta podcast. Was that good enough, Adam?
That was a bit too much.
Perfect, dude. Perfect.
All right. Well, Adam said that
Let
he would
me
like
just
me to
mute real
be.
quick.
Adam said he would like me to be more animated in the intro, so that's our new intro, people. For episode 6, Chai is going to kick us off with the topics, and I'm interested to hear what you all have to say.
Yep. So the first thing, we dive straight into our mythic progress in raid, and we've made quite a bit of progress. We haven't killed another boss. We're on Sprocket. We're 125 pulls deep, with our best pull being 12.7%. So we've managed to see the entire fight basically, and it's just about people staying alive now. And yeah, it'll be dead, and then all the healers can rejoice because we can use our dinars on Mr. Pick Me Up. Yep.
We
need to use that.
quotation marks.
They drop.
Yeah, 3 of them are going to drop.
every time. Yeah,
True.
They do
the
seem
trinket
to...
drops a lot.
Is it a very rare, or is it just a normal trinket?
That's normal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a normal.
Probably going to be extended though, aren't we? So I doubt we'll see it.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone has a dinar, right? All the healers will just.
Yeah,
We don't get it. Just spend it on that.
yeah, I think that'll be a worthwhile pickup. No pun intended.
Hey.
You also have a chance to get it in the vault at least once.
Yeah, I think it's been going pretty well. I've been comparing to a lot of other guilds. Well, not a lot of other guilds, but I think there are quite a few pulls. So I think we're actually making pretty good progress on it. I don't know what you guys think.
We are definitely in the range now where we just need a clean pull for it to die, because everyone is pretty used to the fight at this point, I would say.
We have also had a few like roster swaps, haven't we? Which I guess hasn't helped.
Yeah.
So like we've had to like teach new people, like 2 or 3 new people, I think, to fight each time. So it's like definitely extended our progress time. Sure.
Overall,
Yeah,
though,
a little bit.
for me, I have to say this is a much better fight than Styx.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've really been enjoying it so far. I know other people aren't, but yeah, I've been having fun.
Finally,
What's your
melee.
favorite bit?
Just all of it. I don't know. It just, I guess what other people hate about it, just feeling like a scripted fight, is maybe what I enjoy about it. Just like the flow of it feels pretty nice.
My favorite thing about it is the fact that, you know, you actually get to fight the boss. And there isn't like weird bits where you have to like run off and do something else, or it's just like a tank and spank fight. It's kind of patchworky, but not quite patchwork, isn't it? It's like,
It really
I guess
is.
for ranged, there's a bit more to do, isn't there? But for melee, it definitely feels just like a patchwork boss with bombs, basically.
It does feel very much like patchwork with like extra steps, but I like it. I definitely prefer these dance fights over the... I understand that they want to make fights more interesting, but the way they did it with Styx, and it just feels gimmicky. It feels like a very weird way to increase difficulty, because the reality is, right, what everyone does is what you always do. You just like, oh, people are hitting bombshells. Okay, 19 other people. Go to this link, download this weak aura, get a big stop sign on your bombshell, and then we're good.
It just feels so like chaotic and random. Like you never know what you're doing from like 1 second to the next on Styx. And I hate kind of like not knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whereas with Sprocket, it's quite nice. Yeah.
He's also
Sort of
really enjoying
preparing.
it because he's like on top of the damage.
You're meant to keep that quiet.
This guy, did I remember him being like all doomer about Paladin, and then bam, he changes his stats a little bit. Oh, he's suddenly at the top. Whoa, everything is
But
fine.
there was also a
and dandy
buff
now.
in there. There was also a buff in there, and also.
Oh, and there was also a buff in there. I forgot about it. Whoa.
It's the ret paradox.
We're
single
finally
season.
reaching the level we deserve.
It is a ret paradox. That's actually a thing. I coined it, but it's actually a thing.
Okay, tell us about it.
You want to hear about it? Okay.
Yeah.
Every season, every time Blizzard does anything to Paladins, Paladins look good at the beginning of every season or expansion where people don't know tactics, right? Because I don't know if you know, but when people die in a raid with a paladin, they get wings. So basically, the more people that die, the more damage the paladin gets. So people dying and you staying alive is a really good thing. But every time that happens, Blizzard's like, "Oh, Ret Paladin is too strong," and then they nerf it because of this thing, and it happens every single expansion. It's the Ret paradox.
That's why we need to remove Bubble, so you die like the rest of us.
It's not true. It's not true.
No.
Just remove the wings and give me more consistent single target. I'm here for it. But we did also get buffed. But that is actually like why the Rets feel so good. It's just because you get the odd random people dying, and then it doesn't maybe feel that much to people, but 1 or 2 people dying here and there absolutely contributes a mass amount, because keeping wings, that means you can keep your spinning hammers up, and contributes a lot to it.
I think with this fight, it actually feels like this is what Mythic is actually like, whereas the previous fights, I felt like it wasn't. Like I didn't feel that we're in the real Mythic progression.
Yeah, I suppose this is quite interesting because for 3 of you, Herax, Chai, and Adam, this is your first tier actually raiding Mythic, right?
Yeah.
Oh, like I guess you did last tier as well, but it's like your first expansion moving into Mythic.
Yeah, first expansion.
Yeah.
So
it's always kind of the case where the first handful of bosses do feel kind of easy. They're basically just heroic with like either a little bit of a twist on the mechanic or they do a little bit more damage. But generally it's quite the same. But once we get to Bandit, I think we're gonna have a very different kind of prog. I think it's gonna be quite a wall.
We're gonna need a raid plan. Let's just say that much.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a bit different.
I haven't seen too much because I think Bandit's had a few nerfs, hasn't it, since like the Race to World First was going on, and I haven't seen how guilds are progressing on it since then
to really
nerf? Know.
What did it actually nerf?
It's had a few.
I think it was just damage nerfs, wasn't it? But it might have had a health nerf at some point.
I don't think they actually like nerfed the fundamental like mechanics or made anything easier, right? So the real assistant, I think those are just the ads, aren't they?
Yeah.
Real assistant health reduced by 10%. Real assistant no longer have a 3-yard variance in spawn location. Okay, so their spawn location is consistent. Payline visual telegraph length doubled and lasts longer. Okay, that just makes the coin thing more obvious. And the traveling flames visual improved. So they haven't actually changed like that much to it. That's literally it. So it's just that the ads have 10% less health and they don't spawn like within a slight variation. I don't know. Again, I don't know what that means for the fight because I haven't actually seen it, but it doesn't seem like a massive change to me. I feel like there's going to be further nerfs to this fight. Although that being said, we're still getting like buffs right throughout the raid. We're getting percentage buffs. We've just got 6 eye levels increase, and then we're also getting corruptions. Plus, we've had that food buff as well. So, like, we're probably going to have a fair bit of extra damage by the time we actually get to it.
Be worth seeing how many guilds are able to take it down just with the eye level boost. So I don't think the food buff is very good. But the eye level boost is pretty big.
Did you say it was like 0.5% or something? Is that what we worked out yesterday, the food buff?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty big increase, right? It's like, if everyone has that.
So I think it's just like a fixed amount of damage, like it doesn't scale with anything.
Right.
From what I understood. And it's a fairly low proc rate.
Yeah.
Like 1 a minute.
It's also just free damage on the top of all the other stuff that you've already had. We've already had a massive buff this week with 6 eye levels. That's essentially like 6% extra damage, isn't it, on everyone else in the raid, more or less?
Yeah, it's going to be a significant damage upgrade now with everything being uncapped, right? So you can farm out over your upgrades to be ready for the next raid.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite significant. Yeah, overall, Sprocket definitely much better than Styx, and probably better than the other bosses, to be honest. I haven't really found the other bosses that exciting, but this one is kind of fun. And it's also fun to watch people either mess up on the gateway and laugh at them, or just miss completely and fall down the hole.
watch one person fly into the other group and then send someone flying back into the other group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best is when you just get a life grip
Ping-pong.
out of nowhere and
Yeah.
you're like, what's going on in the wrong group?
Mm.
Which is what happened. But speaking about like we've obviously had a massive boost in gear because of the turbo boost and the new patch. And what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I don't know if I necessarily like it. Like, I understand, like, towards the end of every tier, I guess, you get sort of power boosts to get those last guilds, like, over the edge, but this feels too big and too early.
It's not a normal thing, this is not a normal thing.
Yeah.
Like, it feels weird to me. It feels like, I feel like what I quite like about WoW previously is that you get to a point where you no longer need to log in and keep playing. Like, you've geared your character as much as you can from the sources of stuff that you've done. And you've kind of just need to put in the hours or like put your shift in for your raid bosses so you can then practice them and progress them essentially. Whereas now it feels like probably isn't that much to do in the grand scheme of things, right? It's probably like a week or two's worth of effort doing like a couple of extra keys here, a couple of extra bosses, like a mythic there, to get your gilded stuff and get all your stuff upgraded. And once it's done, it's done. But it still feels a bit to me like a carrot on a stick thing where they're like, oh yeah, here's an extra thing just to keep you kind of signed in and playing. In the grand scheme of things, it's good that you don't have that lull and there is an excuse to keep logging in. But I don't know. I think it's like a double-edged sword.
That is my issue with it. As soon as I saw it, I immediately felt like, okay, so this is the power level you actually expect us to finish this patch on, and you basically time gated it, is what you did. And all of the time invested prior to that has now been felt like a waste.
Yeah.
And although it's not although it's not like technically a waste, we was artificially time gated, right? Is what really happened because they've now removed the cap on things.
Yeah. I don't feel like they gave enough guilds enough time to clear the raid before throwing in the boost.
Which
I know,
guilds?
like, they closed Hall of Fame and stuff, but
yeah, because I think once Hall of Fame is done, right, it doesn't really matter after that point. If you're not in the Hall of Fame, then it's just whatever.
Just your general guilds that are like pushing for either curve or cutting edge. Just it feels like it's too early because I'm sure there are a lot of guilds with like some serious players out there who quite enjoy the challenge of clearing it at the same, kind of max as the other guilds that have cleared it before them, rather than like having their progress essentially invalidated because they're so much stronger.
I understand, but I think if you're a serious player, you're probably not in a position where you're like lingering behind at this point, right? I think that the Hall of Fame are those people that take it very seriously. Everyone else, like,
I think there's still plenty of serious guilds who are on like Bandit Mugsy.
I think I can agree with that. I think it would feel really bad if you were like progressing a boss, say Bandit or Muggsy, for example, and you're progressing and you guys are really close and you're finally getting used to it, and then this patch hits, and then you're kind of required to power up, get all your gear sorted out, and then you just like steamroll it, and it's like it just feels like it's cheapened that kill, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, you could be right. Personally, I'm just not that. This is definitely probably just a cook take by me, but I just don't think it matters that much. Like, I know, for example, Styx, one of my friends' guilds was behind us on Styx and they just couldn't kill it. And then he got nerfed and now they've been able to kill it. And I think that nerf doesn't make their kill any less valid than ours. Like, it's irrelevant, like, in my eyes. As long as the boss dies, who really cares?
I think I think your take on that is like not the common one, because I think people are always gonna talk about, oh, we killed it before the nerf, or we killed it before the buffs. Like that's kind of a big thing amongst people, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I don't disagree. You're not wrong in that, but I think that's kind of like a weird gatekeeper attitude that I've definitely probably been like that in the past, but I think it's probably not good to have that outlook.
People always have that competitiveness. But I also think there's a bit of a difference between a guild that's like 3 or 4 out of 8 and a guild that's 6 out of 8, 5, 6 out of 8. It's I think there's a big attitude difference between them.
I'm wondering though if this is aimed at because I guess it impacts everyone, right? But I'm wondering if this is aimed at players who they blast at the beginning. WoW is like a seasonal game, and then they're like, okay, we're done. We can play other things now. We can cancel our sub for a bit. But now it's like, even if you finish the mythic raid, even if you're done with your M plus for the season, you need to keep on top of that power and stay farming to max your gear out even further.
I think that was Nukon's point, right? It's basically another step to keep you on the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's that bad though, because I don't know for other people, but I was pretty much maxed on the first day just by upgrading all the other crests into gilded. And I think I just needed to kill a few more bosses and I was basically done already. I know I'm not fully mythed out yet, but I'll learn those crests over that time before I need them.
Even then though, even if you're in that situation, right? The minimum you can subscribe for is a month. So even if they've got someone to resubscribe for 1 month to do this, even if it only takes them a day, they still had to subscribe for the month. And it still makes this quarter look better than it would have if they didn't.
Yeah, for sure. And then they also put in other bits of content that you couldn't even do, and yeah.
Oh, are we moving on to that? Hold on.
I think the last thing I'm gonna say about this as well is Adam, for us it's different, right? Because we still need this power to kill the bosses that are still ahead of us.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the other players who people who have cleared Mythic already, done with the M plus, they were signed off, right? But this is not. They're not going to be able to sign off now because they need to stay ahead.
But
and what do they really have to do?
They don't gain anything. They're done with the game.
No, they're not.
Want to be ready for the next
season,
year.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to be as prepared as possible before you go into the next raid, right?
So, I mean, that's just them catering to the 0.0001% again, I guess.
But I think it's them they're trying to capture those players, right? Because also, it could be the case where people are like, okay, this is the max we can climb in M plus with the gear available. But now they're like, oh, now we get this boost. Other people are getting higher keys, so we need to sub back in to get the boost in gear and then climb, stay competitive. In terms of M plus, right? It's going to push it even higher, the keys that you can do. So
I know for me, I it feels really good to be at a point where you cannot get any more gear. So you've essentially completed the game. So you can literally raid log. To me, that feels really, really good. You've worked hard, you've got your gear. All you have to do now is just basically, put your shift in, kill the boss or whatever, progress the boss. And this is kind of just delaying that. I already felt like the crest system, unless you min-maxed it pretty optimally, I don't think anyone would be max what is it, 6, 7, 8 at this point. Was it possible to even hit 6, 7, 8 if you just upgraded stuff on Mythic? Because you only had 900 crests, I think, or was it 1,000? Did we get 1,000 cap? I think last week it was, but yeah. So I feel like we were not even at a position where you could even have upgraded all of your stuff to max yet. I think maybe some guilds could have min-maxed it based on what items you get from the Mythic raid. But if every item you had was starting at 662, I don't think you could possibly have had all of those items upgraded by the time we got to dispatch. Don't think it was possible. Maybe just.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure on the exact maths on it. Yeah.
You'd have crafted pieces as well, which would bring you down.
Yeah. So I've upgraded a few hero pieces just because I had nothing else to spend them on, but I'm sure someone did it.
Speaking of crafted pieces, this might be something that I disagree on with people. I don't like the mythic upgrades from the raid are so minimal for me because I have a crafted piece that's so high. I'm basically stuck with my weapon.
Give an example.
Yeah, my weapon is a great example. I crafted it like as soon as I got 2 sparks, and I'm never gonna upgrade that weapon now until we kill Bandit on Mythic. And if we didn't kill Bandit on Mythic, then I would just never upgrade that weapon. And I don't like not having any upgrade path like after 2 weeks in on an expansion, on like a patch of an expansion. It feels horrible.
Is Ascension just out and out Abyss for you then?
I
I thought when you simmed it, it was different. I thought
No,
if
that's
you
what
get
I'm
like crit
saying.
or something was better.
I have to get for that. I have to get the Mythic best in slot for it to be an upgrade. Like if I was only
Okay.
raiding Heroic, for example, I would have crafted that
Yeah.
weapon in week 2. Was it when we had the
Yeah.
whenever we got our second spark? I would have crafted that weapon, and
Yeah.
that's it. That slot is done for the entire patch. Like that feels.
I'm here for it.
I don't like that. I
It's
would like.
assuming that you had access to Gilded Crest, though. I think a lot of people who raid Heroic don't really push to where they get Gilded. I know my old guild, they won't do M+ that high.
Maybe it could be that, but I don't like. I
What, seven?
personally just do not like the fact that I cannot upgrade that slot anymore. I feel like if a mythic weapon drops, it should be more rewarding because the content is harder.
I agree, 100%.
I
Like
really
it
don't
actually
like it.
makes it.
That's the idea, right?
I mean,
The
it's the
idea is
idea,
that
On
but
the
you
one
do get it.
hand, yes,
it's too marginal.
I think.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I like that professions are actually impactful, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but
I guess it's because it's your embellishment. The embellishment absolutely buffs it by like a fair bit. Didn't you gain like 5k DPS or something without the embellishment? Or was that best in slots without the embellishment?
that was best in slot, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think the problem is more with the fact that it's like weapon. Because I don't know, it feels good when you get a really nice weapon in the
Yeah.
vault, like a big weapon in the vault, or not even in the vault, a big weapon that drops from the raid, and you're like, oh, this weapon looks cool, and it's all like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like a mythic weapon. But then when you just have something crafted that you're not even required to do mythic raiding to get the materials, that's better than mythic. It just
I
feels
guess that's part
so
of it.
bad.
This season, right? We didn't have this season. 10s were much easier, so guild was much more accessible. If you would have had to wait like a week extra to get it, would it have felt any better?
No, the
I mean,
issue
Gilded
isn't
you
that.
get from seventh, right?
The issue is the content you get it from, because you don't. Yeah, you're right. You don't have to do 10s is 7s, but the issue is
True.
farming
right.
7s is not even close. Even Vexy is harder than farming a 7, and Vexy is like kind of a pushover as a boss.
True.
Because
I think that's the easiest
Yeah.
mythic boss there's ever been. I don't think I've ever walked in on mythic and just like one shot the first boss.
we didn't even look at tactics. It was hilarious, but yeah, it was exactly the same. You just like
Yeah.
have one ad that you can't let go
Aeronog
near
is
it.
pretty easy, but like a few other bosses were actually like somewhat hard on most raid tiers, like mythic bosses. This one just felt complete face roll.
I feel like first bosses are usually a pushover.
Yeah, but this one felt more so. I felt than normal.
Yeah,
Not that that's a problem. I don't care about gatekeeping the first boss on mythic.
we did discuss this before, I'm pretty sure, but there's like been some really cool bosses that because they're first bosses, everyone sort of like forgets about them or doesn't acknowledge them as a good boss. But there's definitely been some first bosses that could have been good. It's just unlucky where they was in the raid.
Kinda makes sense that these bosses feel even easier. I mean, we went back to do the last tier raid yesterday, and I mean the bosses were a joke, right? I
Yeah.
guess we did do them on normal, but
Did go
still.
on normal, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe that's an unfair comparison because we did it on normal, but still, like they were being annihilated within 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I guess that really
that just shows you,
You know,
how
the-
big the like eye level difference is, right? Although the numbers don't jump that much, it's still like an insane improvement.
But a massive jump in eye level compared to what we normally have. I'm pretty sure normally it's like a 26 eye level jump or something, maybe slightly more, is it? But this time what we went from 639 to 684, right? For like 45 odd eye level. It's like
Yeah, we was talking about it yesterday
massive, right?
during the raid, but I was wondering how likely do you guys think it's going to be that we have to get a stat squish during this trilogy, this like World Soul Saga trilogy, because these numbers are going to get out of hand very quickly. We're already back to like tens of millions of health.
I'm surprised they didn't do one already, to be honest.
We're back to like Legion numbers, aren't we? Wasn't Legion like 6-something eye level, 600 eye level, 800 eye level? I don't remember exactly what it was.
800 island.
Was it
They
not?
need to relax a little bit, I feel.
But that's what I'm saying. No, I think
I don't
next
remember.
expansion we will get a stack swish. I would not be surprised in the slightest if we get one next expansion. But I'm pretty sure we're roughly Legion numbers. I think did we not go to 900 eye level in Legion? What was like Argus, Argus and Taurus. And Taurus was a raid, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but yeah, we do. I think we will be getting a stat switch. But I was like, I wonder if they're gonna do it during, because every time they've done it, I don't think they've ever done it successfully without messing up like old world content, right? Do you remember the time where people couldn't farm transmogs and stuff, and
yeah,
the
RC was one-shotting people,
yeah.
like max level people, because they'd fucked up the stat squish. They fixed it in a day, I'm pretty sure, but it was just fucking fun. Like, I can't even boost my friend in RFC because I'm just getting one-shot by things. Cracking up, dude.
So good.
I can't see on Wild what the eye levels were. I'm pretty sure they were like 950. I want to say 955. I'm pretty sure we were roughly in Legion. I don't remember like health numbers and stuff either. But
I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it going until after the trilogy, or
that's
like
gonna be crazy though.
keeping it going until the trilogy. I mean,
we've gone from like
you say that,
but we've gone from like what 4 to 8 mil health to now up to like, I don't know what I am. I think I'm like 16 or 17 mil or something.
I've just hit 11 million as a rep.
Yeah.
Which is like what 3 million more than I had as prot in season 1.
I mean, I can log in and check, but I don't know. It's a lot.
Maybe
That's
2 million more.
Like,
okay, so
I might have been about 9 million in prot.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So Amanthol's vision was eye level 1000.
Yeah,
which is obviously the legendary one, but it was higher than everything else.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the epic, so the Pantheon Blessing trinket started off at 940 eye level. So 955 sounds about right, but it could be like a heroic eye level. I can't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, so in theory, we could still go to like that sort of level, which we're a couple expansions off, right? Usually there's like 100 odd between expansions, aren't there? From memory.
I think the tuning would be very tight. They would have to tune every raid going forwards like absolutely perfectly to be able to pull it off without doing a stat squish for free expansions, I think.
Somewhere along the way, we will have to have a stat squish. I don't know where that comes in. Probably will be like the next. Is it midnight? The next one probably will be in midnight.
Yeah.
But they haven't announced. What we're expecting it? What 26-ish?
I think the next tier is going to be in August, so probably 6 months after that, maybe February.
Yeah, February, March-ish.
I do not think that they're going to start Squish.
I am 18.3 mil.
Until the trilogy is over.
In tank.
Yeah, as a bear, yeah. 18.3 mil, and that's without stand buff. So there's going to have to be. It's just going to be ridiculous.
Let's see
I could definitely see them not doing a stat squish just because the story is kind of like a progressive story. But based on what they've done previously, I think they have to.
Yeah, but I mean, with the story, right? They can just write whatever they want. They would write like, we go to this the planet of the
apes,
ethereals or whatever, and then they take all our gear and armor and stuff like that, and then we fight back to get that power back.
When was the last stat squish? And was that after Legion?
Was it Dragonflight? I feel like we had one in Dragonflight.
Was it Dragon?
I don't remember.
We had a revamp at some point in the like all of the old zones.
We definitely had on BFA. I'm pretty sure we had a stat squish. We definitely had a stat squish of BFA. I'm pretty sure we had one in Shadowlands, but I could be wrong.
I think it was Shadowlands, right?
No, really? Was it in Shadowlands? But like, how does that make? Have any of the stat squishes like made sense from a lore perspective?
They don't care about lore.
Yeah. No. So in that case, well, I mean, if they don't care about lore, it doesn't matter, I guess. Then my point is moot. But I was gonna say, like, they're probably more like I can't see them with the way that the Blizzard acts and how they behave with having a stat squish like in their like when they're so focusing so much on this trilogy stuff. But again, I mean, it's not like they don't have a big ass dev team that can, you know, do more than one thing at once. You know,
I'm
so
pretty sure
maybe
there's a
if they had a
technical
QA
limitation.
team, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I suppose what they could, in theory, do is once the next expansion starts, they bring us back to the power level of this starts at the start of this expansion, and then everything in this expansion gets nerfed down.
Depending on where the story's going, because I mean, there's a lot of speculation. I could see it just like ramping up and then resetting once it's over.
Oh, that would be so good.
Like a memory reset.
Yeah, there's some like speculation about like resetting the timeline or all that kind of stuff.
We kind of had that, didn't we, with Shadowlands, right? The reset. But I'm pretty
Resetting
sure
the timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like a loop kind of thing of reality, just like starts
hang on,
and then ends and then
we're
starts over.
regressing.
Okay,
We're
so
gonna...
in an interview in, let's see, when was this? I think this was before The War Within came out. Ian basically said that there won't be a stat squish in The War Within, but he said that the numbers will be comparable to what we saw in Legion. However, Midnight, the following expansion, will likely need to have a squish to prevent the numerical bloat.
Yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, because numbers will stop meaning anything.
Yeah, we're getting there anyway. Like, I'm nearly at 20 mil health. Like, what are we doing?
He also said, I'm confident that we'll be able to better address legacy scaling.
At least they acknowledge it, I suppose.
I think there's even like a technical limitation as well on like the numbers. I don't think it's even just
Yeah, there will be
because
it'll
numbers
be
look funny.
32,
I'm
right?
pretty sure it's a literal like the numbers just get fucked up if they get to a certain point.
Yeah, we did have one in Shadowlands as well.
Stat Squish.
Yep.
I don't know if we had one afterwards. Did we have? I feel like we
Apparently
had
there was.
Dragonflight.
The first one was in Warlords of Draenor in 2014.
Yeah.
The second one was paired with an item level squish, which was in BFA, and the third one, which was also the first character level squish, was in Shadowlands. Because remember, we were like level like 120 or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, and I went to 60. I think 70. Did we go to 70 in Shadowlands? Yeah. No. What?
No, what's
60.
like 90?
No, we went to 60. I think
60.
Yeah.
Yeah, they squished it from
60 was Shadowlands, then Dragonflight was 70, and now we're 80, right? So
yeah. So there'll be one in Midnight. It looks like it.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's something, all right.
I was also just looking at some the Legion. I was just watching like Method's kill of Argus from back then. Obviously, they would have been slightly under eye leveled, but on their kill, Narcles has like 7 mil as a Ret Paladin, so 7.3 mil. So we're like a fair bit ahead of like Legion numbers, and their DPS. Saying that, DPS numbers is like 4 mil, 3 mil. So it's weird. Like our health scaling is higher, but our DPS is probably a bit lower. I feel like 3 mil is a bit.
Wasn't Argus also the scuffed phase with like an extra like a prolonged execute though?
Possibly. I'm just looking at the pull, I guess, on pull.
The note of Legion remix coming.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
You can get mounts at least, and then there's also classic MOP. If you guys know.
Dude, I can't believe an actual like person said that.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's like the creator of GIFs says that the official terminology is GIF.
May he rest in peace.
Sorry, GIF, and it's sorry, I'm mixing the two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're saying it wrong for no reason.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's graphical, not graphical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we had the turbo boost. We had obviously our item upgrades. Adam, you said you were finished within like the first day. So have you been able to like craft stuff for off spec and like juice your off spec? Because I feel like I'm behind. Like I don't feel like I can play any other specs, to be honest, because I don't have enough crests and I don't have enough, crests to use on crafting stuff.
No, I've just been crafting more that I like haven't already upgraded. I was basically missing a ring now that the circlet isn't as good with the eye level upgrade, so I crafted that.
Hmm.
So I've crafted wrists, a back, a weapon. So I'm kind of all out of sparks right now. Maybe next week when I get another one, might craft something for off spec, but I don't know.
I feel like I'm on the opposite end of you guys. I haven't been playing this week at all. And I've been, working for once, which has put me. I feel like I'm behind the same the same week as the shit came out.
I think you're behind now.
I'm really behind on crests. Like I can
Yeah, but like
I can craft I can upgrade all of my crafted weapon now to the new max level. But after that I have no juice.
Is
No
there
juice left.
Is there a good argument for crest being capped to begin with?
no.
Just to artificially
Like it-
time get
well,
you?
Yeah, so I can get our power basically.
It's gonna be because people would degen, right? Like Race to World First would just absolutely degen it and get like fully juiced the first week, and then
Does that matter for like 99% of the player base though? Like, is there a good reason for it?
someone will find a
Give
good
them-
reason, but there isn't one.
Give them time to balance anything
But the balance
that might be off.
I don't agree.
Even
I
if
feel like they
give
should
us
they
them
should
crests?
just max juice all of these nerds at the top. Let them have their fun for their like 1 week or whatever, 2 weeks. And then actually like balance the game for the people that, this game is supposed to be for, the
Does that
majority
include
of the
us?
player base.
Because I guarantee all of you will like max yourselves out in the first week or two and then complain there's nothing to do.
I wouldn't.
That's
I'm
a
here for
really
it,
good
dude.
thing. I would love to not have to farm stuff.
Yeah.
You'll be complaining even more than you do right now.
I would not. As I said earlier, I'm really happy when I get my gear and can just raid log. Big positive.
That's true. Matt would not complain. Yukon would not
He'll
complain more
find something to
because,
complain about.
no, he's maxed out on complaining, dude. He's got the crests. He's put them all in already.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There'll be nothing to complain about if I was fully juiced and fully geared. I'm here for it.
I
Other than the
guarantee
fact that
you will not be.
I just don't like having to feel like they're intentionally holding us back. And the same with Valorstones. Like, can we just have crests or Valorstones? What's the point in both?
The unfortunate reality is, right, like this is what I feel is the only way that they know how to keep us playing.
That's what I think too. That's exactly what I think.
it's
Because
all metric driven,
at this
right?
point, the only like I wouldn't say evergreen, but like the only thing that you can like stay, like you can keep pushing keys, but that becomes monotone. You can only raid once a week because you're locked. Like when you're done with all of that and you don't want to do keys, what can you do? You do your crafting maybe. If you don't like crafting, what do? You go back and do old content. That's like or you go and do achievements. But like in terms of like current content, there's not much that makes you feel like you want to keep playing. Really. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not
Yeah.
a positive thing, right? Like, it's being said as though, like, Adam,
But
for
no, it's
example, I'm
not.
just using him as an example, but he's like saying you'll complain more. But the reality is, Whether you drag out the complaining for one day of me complaining about how much I've got to farm these crests, or whether you drag it out over 3 months, I'd rather just complain for the day. Let me just get it done, over and done with, and then, have fun in the video game. Because I do think it's annoying. It feels like busy work.
Yeah, exactly. Like the way that they're implementing the reasons that you want to be in the game is not correct. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe we should all just become role players. Then we have a a definitive way or a reason to always be in game. Dude, we gotta stay in character. We gotta patrol Goldshire.
I think
Yeah,
I'm
I think
actually.
Gotta make sure the thieves are
I think I'm going to agree
locked
with that.
behind doors.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. Actually. And I think it's like I would just continuously play, right, to
You
a
would
level that
until you're done.
is. Yeah, but but that until you're done is literally gonna. I'll probably be burnt out, right, and I'll just be done with the game and not want to play it. Like
And then you
once I
don't
get
play
there, I
it
think.
until raid, right?
Yeah,
I-
No,
this
I
is
think you
also
just
the
degen
problem.
and you'll feel like it's just not good. Yeah, and
So you
like
need
what's
to have yourself restricted from an external force so you don't overdo it.
For your own good.
yeah,
Yes.
because this is how Blizzard has always done it, right? If they take the rails off, I'm going off the rails, bro. Like that's how it is, right? And the problem is once you have one person doing that, you're like in your guild or in like whichever group you're playing with, it influences other people to do that as well, and then everyone's degenning, and then yeah, it's the never-ending cycle
That's
of.
fair. I
You
do
need
not
to have
enjoy.
boundaries.
I do not enjoy feeling forced to do something.
Mm.
Like, how do I explain it? I don't even know. I don't like needing to. Like, you have to compete suddenly with all of your friends because some motherfuckers, are busy and some aren't. So the people that are busy are gonna be like, oh, I'm fucking behind as frick right now. This is not really that fun. Is anyone want to help? No, I'm burnt out, dude. Play the game on your own. Like, no,
Always the
I
case
want
that
to play
you
the
can't.
game with my friends.
Always the case
But
that you
because you
can't play
guys
with
were
your friends.
degening,
Yeah.
I don't have, and you don't want to play anymore. I'm just here alone now, and I have to deal with bugs or, you know.
Or because everyone like degened, they're doing keys that you can't even get into because you didn't degen, right? And I think it's also like having the cap actually and having the limit set in place. I've just been thinking about it, and I guess it's like it's nice because I can feel like, you know what, I've done what I need to do to stay up and to be ready for raid. I can just play some alts, I can chill. Whereas if there
Yeah.
was like a never-ending thing, I need to juice it till max.
To be honest, though, my
And
argument stands regardless of the cap or not. Because if the cap is there and people are going, well, I've done my 4 keys. I'm just gonna do something else, and then I'm there like, well, you guys were doing keys at 2 a.m. and I was sleeping.
Yeah, but I feel like
Now,
that's always gonna happen with an MMO, right? It's gonna be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
So my complaint isn't really about like the.
If you have any IRL, you're always gonna be like left behind. I mean, we saw what happened in Dragonflight with the Black Prince rep, right? People would just absolutely degen farm that thing till they got like the items that put them ahead.
Oh, the Rathian cloak.
Yeah.
if
Mm.
you think about it, like, I mean, you said you don't like feeling forced to do something, but if they remove the cap, you're going to be forced to go and farm it all in the first week because otherwise you're going to be behind.
I would rather that. I would
It's
rather be forced in the first week to just go absolutely crazy, and then I have 6 months of just playing when I feel like playing and logging in for raid.
Yeah, no, I'd prefer.
No,
I'd,
no.
I mean, you're already
I've-
going ham at the beginning anyway, right? So you're already like overdoing the amount of keys that you do the first like a couple of weeks because you want to get gear.
I also
So you're
feel
already
like
farming heroic gear.
it's not a problem either if it's an option, right? If you really do prefer only having to do it, like only doing it when you want to do it, whatever that is, say you like only want to do 4 keys a week. If it's uncapped, you can still do your 4 keys a week.
yeah, but there's the incentive is to do more. It's like when there's no limits. to like you can take it any result, right? If there's no limit to like how much money you can earn or how much wealth you can accumulate, then people are always going to be addicted to getting like getting as much as they can, right?
But there's an endpoint, right, for this. Like, that's infinite. This is finite. There is an endpoint where once you have everything upgraded, you're free.
Yeah, but I mean, there's even if there's an endpoint, the endpoint is you have to put so many hours in and degen that it's actually going to be, it's going to have negatives on your health, on your like psychology. It's going to have negatives on everything, basically. Like in the short term, you will be burnt out for sure if you degen that way, and it's going to impact other parts of your life if you are also like trying to balance stuff.
I think it's the game's job to manage your life, though, right? Like,
No.
that's up to you.
It's not. But I mean, it's in their best interest to make things that are good for their players and take that into consideration. They have a responsibility to do that.
Players need to be protected from themselves because people will always find a way to ruin it if
And
they're not.
yeah. Otherwise, we just have like
unchecked.
loot boxes, right? Unchecked as well, and then stuff like that.
No, I don't know about players needing to be protected from themselves. I don't know about
But
that.
they absolutely
like,
do.
The whole thing
I mean, that's
to
why
me,
we don't have loot boxes, though.
the whole
right?
thing
That's why they
just
clamp it down.
simply feels like they do it to keep you on the hamster wheel. They do it to keep you subscribing, and they're not doing it because they care about you. Like, well, this is the company who, let's not forget what this company's been in trouble for in the past. Like, they don't care about your well-being. They're doing it because they make more money out of you staying subscribed.
Yeah.
And it's
I
annoying.
mean, one thing being true doesn't stop the other being true as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can have that opinion, but like the reality is they're gonna make money, right? That's what they're doing. And we're
Yeah, but
gonna
the
stay
reality is
subscribed.
both, right? It's not one or the other.
We're gonna stay subscribed. I mean, if what you're saying is true, then we're gonna find out now.
100% they would have talked about that, right? They would have talked about player burnout and stuff like that, which is also better for the longevity of the game and better for business for them, right? It's both those things. It's not just like one or the other.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If what you're saying is true, we're gonna find out now, right? Because now everything's uncapped. So now we're gonna see if everyone's playing all of their characters 28 hours a day, 9 days a week, like 480 days
No,
a year.
it's not the same though. Because
I
we've
mean, this
already
goes back.
because we haven't
some-
we're starting from a point where we're already like 50% in, right? So you don't have to degen
We're further than that.
that hard. Yeah,
Not
we're
even
further than that
50%,
exactly.
We're like 8%, probably.
So you don't have
85%
to
in.
degen like
Yeah.
crazy basically because it's not like from 0 to 100. It's from like 60 to 100 now.
So it really
Instead.
comes down to you just like the grind being spread out. You like having a
Yeah.
longer, less intense grind,
I
whereas
think it's being balanced.
I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
rather it
exactly.
just be like intense burst and then I'm done.
Kind of goes back to something you said earlier where you're on about your crafted weapon and then not being able to get any upgrades. It's like you're going to blast in the first week, get all your gear, and then spend the rest of the tier not getting any upgrades because you've already done it and you're not progressing.
But the problem is we've had the opposite where that doesn't exist, and I'm still in that position.
Yeah, so you'd be in that position faster, right? So
Couldn't have. I was literally in that position as fast as I possibly could have been because of the spark like limitation.
That's only with your weapon though. Like all of your gear, you're not going to get any upgrades
It would have been spark
because
limitation,
you've
though,
already
right?
maxed it out.
Like all of my crafted pieces, I wouldn't have been able to do it on.
I think that's
Yeah,
an
but you'll
issue
still get
with
other
it.
bits.
Yeah, but I think that's an issue with it specifically being weapon because I think a weapon means different things to a player than I have my wrists upgraded and I have my tier set and I have all of this kind of stuff. Like a weapon just hits kind of different.
Same with weapon and like trinkets, right? Weapons and
Yeah.
trinkets are both
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
same path where it feels like way more impactful to upgrade a weapon and a trinket than it does to feel, to upgrade like a pair of braces or something.
That was also a huge detraction. I didn't mean for it to go on that long, but yeah, I was just trying to say I prefer just having a short, intense grind rather than grinding for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And I would like to have the option to do that rather than being forced to do the long way.
Yeah.
Or even
I just
then,
think-
just make it like where you can grind more, or sorry, not even that you can grind more, that you're given more. It feels like just a gilded system. It just feels weird to a point where like you're capped for so long, and now we're uncapped, so it feels kind of good that you can actually like put multiple things into your gear each week. But previously you've just been capped. You can upgrade like what is it, one piece a week? You have 90, and it's like that's one piece fully upgraded a week, and it just feels like it takes a long time to grind those gilded, and then it also takes, and then the fact that you then have to wait for them to be able to upgrade. I don't know. That feels just bad to me.
Yeah,
Not saying it's perfect, but-
divisive opinions, that's for sure. I think I'm definitely for both. I do understand the like slower grind.
Listen to this fencer, the pick a side.
I am a fence sitter. Okay, I gotta see both options before I decide.
I think like if we're talking about what's best for the game and what's best for most of the players are super casual, right? So the best thing is, I think, a slow grind for those players. Like the degen kind of
They're already
get
doing that by
it's-
the nature
but
of how the game.
yeah, but I mean like the degen letting it all be free and that kind of playstyle, it suits like the higher end top like 1% players who can focus, who have the time to do that kind of thing. So it makes sense that their philosophy is focusing on like spreading that out.
Yeah, I don't really know what to think, to be honest.
It's just how you want to play the game, which is different, right? From person to person. But I think there's more people who want to play it and who can't play it anymore how they used to back in the day. And talking about progression, what do we think about trinkets? I know we mentioned it. The trinkets need to be changed.
Kind of felt like it feels trinkets are in a funny spot, right? Because they're similar to weapons, where you want them to be a big upgrade, and they have somewhat of an impact on you every season or whatever. But there's always like one or two trinkets that are abyss, and then the rest are not quite as good or useless. Is basically there's no like decent decision most of the time. It's usually like one or two, maybe three bis in situational abysses, and then like the rest are more or less useless.
Yeah.
And then it feels crap going into a new tier where your trinkets get nerfed like before you even get into that new tier. So going into a new tier being like nerfed. But yeah, I just feel like that feels like crap.
I personally
don't like the like. There's often one trinket or something that's just best for every class. I think they need to work on that.
House of Cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
House of Cards. I mean, what else?
Kazan.
What was the one last season? Last
Spymaster
tier? Yeah. Everyone.
Icon, Spymaster, Mark Cardros, like all these trinkets.
Yeah. Just every single spec wants that trinket.
Yeah. Usually it's like a council one, right? Some kind of council trinket that gives buffs or something.
I'm
I'm
not a fan.
I feel like there's no reason why they can't. Okay, no. There are reasons why. But I feel like all of the trinkets should be balanced more equally. Because it's just more fun having more options.
Definitely.
And giving people like choice in what kind of flavor they want to run. But I also understand that like is also dependent on class balancing to a certain degree, because some classes and some specs and some talent choices might benefit from X trinket way more than the other. But I'm sure that they could homogenize it some way. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because you just get to a point, don't you, where it's like one class, if they don't nerf that trinket, one class will just end up using that trinket for basically the whole of the expansion.
Yeah. There's a lot of classes already doing that with the ring right now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
I mean, that ring, what the Cersei Circlet, you mean?
Yeah.
That ring was put in place to be viable this season. I don't know how long they've had the like the turbo boost in mind for, but that that ring was put with the sort of opinion that it would be more or less best for most of the season, if not all of it. For some
I guess it's
classes.
just crazy because it's the eye levels are just that much lower.
Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, in that sense, eye level doesn't matter.
That brings me on to. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, at least with the ring, everyone can get it, right? Whereas
Yeah.
with the trinket, it's like one person, if you even see it.
Yeah, that's true.
But we
Right.
basically haven't seen House of Cards or Best in Slots or anything.
Yeah, we've only seen it
all
once
of our
on
raids.
Heroic, I think. I think we've only seen both of them once on Heroic.
We've seen
Like, I
two
feel
House
like-
of Cards, and both of them went to people who aren't going to be able to raid with us anymore.
Mhm.
Why? What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You're not there, dude. You're not there. What do you mean?
Dude, I'm on my trial period, okay? And I'm not talking about the guild.
Yeah, that,
But yeah, it shouldn't be that rare. I wish that they would. If they're going to make trinkets this impactful, they need to be more common.
is Special Slots very. Sorry, House of Cards. Is it very rare?
No.
Nope.
Yeah,
It just is very rare. It's not very rare, it just
It's
is.
rare because everyone needs it, right? Yeah. Kind of brings me on to something that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about something like trinkets just being a stat stick. They kind of have some of them where they are, but then it feels like what they probably should do. Maybe people like trinkets, and them feeling effective when you use them or have them equipped and you get a proc. But it kind of feels like we're put in a position where you get a trinket, you love it for the season, then they nerf it at the end of the season. You then go on to a new season, and maybe you won't be replacing your trinket because your old trinket was so good. But if you go into if you have trinkets that are basically just like stat sticks, i.e., maybe you have like a main stat on it and then haste crit, whatever, one of the select, secondary stat. As in, so every trinket you'd have like one with like main stat plus haste, one with main stat plus crit, one with main stat plus mastery, whatever. Then every season you don't have to nerf the trinkets, right? Because you can just buff them via eye level. You don't have to worry about all these random effects adding in, doing this, that, and the other. I don't know what you guys think about that, but to me it feels like a better solution than just having to constantly like put in these trinkets that are OP for one season and then like gutting the ever living fuck out of them so that a trinket next season then has the potential to be better.
Yeah, I'm not a fan personally. But that goes back to what I'm saying. I feel like all of the trinkets should be very, very, very equal. I know that that's like stupid to say, since it depends on also the class outputs and all the specs and everything. But I feel like I wish that they were more equal. Because then that would mean that I could actually use like the cool ones that are actually fun and actually looks like they're doing something.
Yeah.
You remember the one we
think
had that changed you into the wolf and like a Vrykor and stuff in Rough?
Yeah, Deathbringers Woo!
Deathbringer as well.
Those trinkets were fun.
Dude, and you know what's so good about it as well?
Good.
The form that you changed into was dependent on the buff that you got, because it could give you like haste, crit, and something else. So you knew what buff you were getting. Oh, I'm a Vicryl, I'm getting like crit or like whatever it was. It was super cool.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about as well, just like actual trinket effects. Like the actual use, not as in like from a stat perspective, but just using the trinket. Like I don't know, the visual effect of it. The idea I had in my head is, maybe some people won't know it because it's from Classic, but Zendalari Hero Charm. When you use it, you get like an effect that basically goes through your whole character. It like starts at your feet and then goes up through your like character, and then it puts this like massive eye at the top of your head. And I don't know, that just feels really cool to me. It's obviously a vanilla trinket, so it's made a long time ago, so it could be improved upon. But like just that feeling of like, oh shit, I pressed this button and I feel really cool. I'm fucking about to pop off, and you get the impact of just seeing that cool thing. And I feel like I use a Priory trinket now, and I couldn't, other than when I have a weak aura that tracks the buff. Like, I don't think there's even really an effect that shows you that it's up. Maybe there's some other trinkets that have that, but I don't even really notice that it's on or that it's there. I just macro it to my Wake of Ashes, and it does some stuff sometimes, and that's about it. That's all I noticed.
I think on the one hand, I mean, this is kind of combining everything we talked about together. I like trinkets feeling impactful, but I do kind of understand from the idea of class balance that like trinkets are going to affect specs in different ways, and it's going to be a lot easier to balance them if they're not having to deal with this, random trinket from this one dungeon that just happens to make the spec completely broken. And I guess the other thing is, I think there's so much going on visually now that adding more on a trinket, first of all, I don't know if you'd even really notice it. And second of all, it's just adding to like the visual overload that certain encounters have.
Yeah, that's fair. Like,
This-
I mean, I can't even see what's happening half the time in Sprocket.
That's what I was about
Honestly.
to bring up. This is something I was thinking about in Sprocket because on the conveyor belt after like the first intermission phase, I was like top down looking, and I was looking at everything that was going on. Like, there's no way you're gonna convince me this is good fight design. Like, what's
No.
happened to the way they design encounters? Because the visual aspect of everything seems to be so. I don't know. I don't want to go back to being ranting on add-ons and weak auras and stuff, but like it seems like they just rely on it as a crutch so much that the fights are just a mess.
I think part of
Yeah, it's
that
hard.
has come as a result of, weak auras and big wigs and
Time.
things
Yeah.
where they have to just load mechanic on mechanic in order for it to feel like there's something going on.
Yeah, I agree. I suppose that makes sense. But I
Yeah,
agree.
is
I
it-
liked it when trinkets were like cool to look at, but the visual clutter now, there's
Yeah.
just so much that Adam's probably right. I don't think we need more shit just taking up the screen
Yeah.
that doesn't do or tell you anything.
That's
I
actually
think
a
with
fair
the-
point. Very fair point. We already have so many skills, like compared to like if we do the like star comparison, right? In classic, you didn't have that much shit that was actually, visually impactful in the same way that they are now. We have way more of them now.
Back in my
So-
day.
I started playing during Wrath. I'm a wrathy boy.
Yeah, and that's the trinket that they're talking about. They're talking about Death
Okay,
as
I
well.
mean
and
that's
look
that's
at
true, but that changes your character. We already have that toy now. It's
Yeah.
nothing special.
I wish we had it as a toy.
I think with their plans to work on like the whole weak aura thing, like the impact on the game that it has, they can definitely work on like toning down the bosses and not having so much going on visually. That maybe they can work on making certain abilities or trinket effects have like big visual like triggers.
Dude, just make class trinkets.
Oh,
Make
But
class
I
trinkets,
think
and then if I'm like a warlock, my class trinket can, when it procs, it basically turns my fire a different color or like something like that. I don't know.
dude, you have to do like a 20 quest thing to do that. Okay,
No, but
that's
just for
special.
that moment, I get that
Yeah,
buff, and my character's like just because that clutter's already in, right? All it's doing, like your bolts or whatever you're doing as a warlock or
Shadow
whatever.
Bolt too.
Yeah, it's already there. So just change the color of it, dude. That would be so cool.
I guess part of the problem with that is you're stepping into the territory which is covered by a tier set, right? Tier set covers your class fantasy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but does it anymore though? Because I feel like with these TSS, it's flipping insurance, bro. I don't know how class fantasy that is.
Yeah, I don't like the
Joining
bonuses.
the venture code. Like, dude.
You guys like the theme.
Yeah,
You
there's
guys
no
wanted
class
this theme.
fantasy right now.
Dude, I like the theme, but I don't want the theme. Like
You wanted the theme. You wanted theme stuff.
I'm-
This
I'm
is
in-
the fucking bullshit you
I'm
get
in
given when you
charge
ask for theme.
to destroy the place. I'm not there to gamble. So don't give me the insurance. And
Yeah, gambling is haram, dude.
Insurance isn't gambling. Insurance.
I
isn't
remember
gambling.
seeing as well
Uh,
a lot of people saying that like the 2-set bonus isn't a problem because this is basically the way 2-set has always worked, and I feel like that wasn't true.
In what respects, right?
I don't remember.
I think their
honest.
point, I don't want to misrepresent it. I think their point was the 2-set bonus always does like a very similar thing regardless of what you're playing. So now having it do
That's
the
not
exact
true.
same thing per roll isn't as bad. But yeah, that's what I think as well. I don't remember it being. I remember 2, 4, and 6 being like sometimes it would just change the way you played entirely.
If you're going back to classic things like fucking, pretty sure it's like Bloodfang, like 2-piece or something, is literally just when you vanish, you heal for 500 health. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So it
Bring
could be
that
something
back.
simple as that. Yeah, fuck it.
Yes.
Give me my
dude,
500 health.
Oh, dude, that was so good when you were playing. What's the dungeon called outside of Goldshire? The Fire's Brotherhood one. That
Dead
tier
Mines.
set. When you had like all of it on, you felt like a god. You're like, holy shit, dude! I have the whole set.
What, the leather one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That was like a bunch of random stuff. So it's like armor, health, something,
Yeah.
and then
Oh yeah. I'm really just
Yeah.
talking visually, but
yeah,
like.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger and I didn't really play, WoW like at any capacity. I think I was a trial for one boss in Wrath in ICC, and then they told me to download like Gear Score. They told me to download Hikili. They told me to download like,
Hikili?
oh, you need these gems. You need to put these gems on your gear, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? It's so expensive. How am I gonna afford that? It's like 50 gold. So yeah, definitely also like more. I feel like I'm more jaded now when it comes to all of this. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of rambling.
I just wish that the tier
Um,
sets were unique to the class. Like, it feels pretty meh having all of the tanks 2-set B. You just randomly proc your big defensive whenever you're getting hit. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
pretty crap. I think we knew
But
that the tank ones were going to be pretty bland, right?
Even like, I don't mean like the actual what they do. I'm talking about everybody sharing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just,
I agree. I don't think that's normal.
it
It's
also
not
just
normal,
doesn't feel
but
fun.
yeah, I feel like or rather, do you guys feel like game design as a whole in WoW has quality wise gone down
Yes.
overall? Because I feel like,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know when they booted their QA team, but we all know that it was basically when Blizzard became, Activision Blizzard.
That
Like-
wasn't the case. That happened in Wrath, dude.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the downfall. That's when
No,
everything
everyone
started going
hails
downhill.
Wrath as like one of the best expansions ever, if not
Okay,
the best
but
expansion.
but okay, so did the acquisition or the merging happen during Wrath or before Wrath? Because a game
don't know.
develops, long before.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
So like, and also, of course, it's like a hostile takeover. It doesn't happen overnight.
True.
Uh,
I mean, people think
But yeah.
Legion is one of the best expansions. People think MOP is one of the best expansions. Like, people
dude, I remember
still
just
think-
everyone hating on MOP back in the days.
they just hated pandas, which I didn't really understand.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that whole logic.
The problem with
But I understand because it's not Warcraft. Like it's not war.
He had the
It's a
staff, he had the little chip in
Warcraft.
his hat. You could see the little glint in his eye through the hat and the little cut in the hat. Like, really sick, dude.
Yeah, dude. It was during peak. What's a Kung Fu Panda hype? Like
Yeah, exactly. That was fun.
Jen Stormstar was in Warcraft 3, bruv.
yeah,
is
and he
peak
was a
Warcraft.
meme character. He was a joke character that they put in the game. Yes, I love Chen. I love the panda. Okay, I'm a panda enjoyer, but I'm just saying it's not very Warcraft. They did not have pandas in Warcraft 1. They did not have pandas in Warcraft 2. They did not have pandas in Warcraft 3 until they added it later, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong.
the reason everyone loved the Legion expansions of MOP is because all they remember is the final tier usually. They forget about the start of it where you was unlucky and you got the wrong legendary when you was grinding out, and too bad because there was actually a hard cap on what legendaries you could get, even though they told you there wasn't. And dude, I am miserable this podcast. I don't know why, but Legion was bad at the start, I'm telling you. If you go back
agree.
and remember, Legion was
rough,
bad.
yeah.
Beginning.
It was coming off the
I
back
don't
of
remember.
not BFA, what was it called? It was coming off the back of WOD, yeah, and everyone was already miserable. And if you got a bad legendary at the start, unlucky, dude.
But that's what it's like, right? It's like the up and downs of WoW. You get one terrible expansion where everyone's complaining that it's really bad, and the next one. And also, I think the theme carried it hard for a lot of people.
They definitely
What
got
theme?
saved
Like
by
Illidan
Illidan
and
coming back.
and
Oh yeah,
And artifacts. I think artifacts carried it hard because they were just cool. Like a lot of them were just like really cool looking weapons, like Ashbringer and like
What was the first raid?
And let's not forget Mage Tower.
Legion?
Emerald Nightmare.
Mage Tower.
Emerald Nightmare. Did that feel like very WoW-y?
You're getting lost in the sauce here, though, Chai. I've got to tell you, like, you can say Mage Tower. Let's not forget artifact knowledge. Good luck playing more than one character seriously for the first tier or the second tier.
Yeah,
Let's remember what really was happening. Like,
join tier 3, bro.
What was that?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everyone loved it once
you
all
have to
of the
farm for
catch up was
fucking
in.
weeks just to be able to put points in the thing, and then if you happen to go the wrong way around on the tree, I'm pretty sure you couldn't refund at the beginning.
No,
that was the thing.
No,
yeah, you couldn't.
You were screwed if you did it wrong.
Good lord.
So if you chose the wrong like, route on the tree, you fucked yourself. Yeah.
Feel the weight.
I'm gonna stop. I need to. I don't know. I need to rewind it. I'm being too much of a negative Nancy. Do you know what I loved it at the end of Legion when we had all of the legendaries and we had like all of the right relics and stuff that we was popping off. Legion was so good at the end.
Let me just ask a question. What class were you playing? What spec and class were you playing in Legion?
Red Paladin. I did start off as prot, to be fair.
Dude, that's cheating. That's cheating. You can't just pick the one that got Ashbringer back, okay?
Yeah. Wait, Levi,
I started as prot. What do you mean? I started as prot.
I was playing Unholy DK.
Unholy DK.
You
what
were?
weapon did you get?
We got the
like
weird apocalypse weapon with like the. It doesn't even look like.
Was that the scythe?
Oh, they missed. That's why you hate Legion. That's why you hate Legion, dude. You didn't get that corrupted Ashbringer.
Yeah, they missed.
Oh, dude, that's
actually had the best Legion artifacts.
I'm so mad I didn't play Legion. Genuinely, I'm so mad I missed all of that cool shit.
Yeah.
In Remix, question. I mean, I guess you guys don't know, but like if you compare, because I didn't play Mop Remix, how much? Like, what do you actually do? Like, what's related to Mop?
You just one shot
Nothing.
bosses.
Honestly, like
it's the same experience.
If you go back and play like Remix Legion, you're gonna really enjoy it.
I would just try it, to be fair. And you kill those mounts, so.
It was basically just for leveling characters and getting mounts. Is literally what the purpose of and to feel OP as shit.
So Remix is like a private server?
Yeah, you're a private server basically.
Yeah. Where you get like an infinitely scaling cloak, which makes you like X times more powerful.
That sounds like a real private server. Except you don't pay.
I mean, yeah, it is. It literally is just private server where you get like super powered. But it's like infinite. It should be in theory infinitely scaling, which should be quite interesting with Mythic Plus. But apparently at the beginning it's quite hard.
But yeah, dude, I'm so down to roleplay in Legion.
It's not Legion there. I don't know if they're doing Mage Tower. Did they say they're doing Mage Tower? Don't know.
Oh,
but you said they were. So it's not like. You're
not playing as your Legion character. You're playing as like I assume the way they did it with Mop was you're playing with like it was Dragonflight talent. So I assume they're going to send you with the current talent class design and talents.
Okay. So they're not like rolling us back. Like we're still us.
Yeah.
We're just playing Legion is just the cap.
Legion is just the skin. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But like I can't like when I'm there I can't go to Dornegal, you know?
Nope.
I can't go to
you can only
Shadowlands.
It's basically if they transported you from this game into like the Legion world, right? And you do all of the content there.
Yeah. But
you still have your
like
powers.
I'm regressing like a webtoon character.
It's literally legacy content. It's what it's like going back and do legacy content, but it's scaled to your like it's like relevant.
Do we think it's a good thing?
I'm still down.
Do we think it's a good thing that they're making all of these different versions of WoW and just like splitting the player base more and more?
No.
No. Wait, can I just ask one? Sorry, can I just ask one last question? If we go back to Legion, I don't think you guys would know this. Would we be able to Would we be able to do the weapon, like the legendary stuff, the weapon stuff?
I don't know if they've said that you can.
That's what I want to live through.
They're probably going to give you the transmogs. I would imagine they'd give you the weapon transmogs.
And would that transfer over to my main account?
No,
I mean,
not
you
if there's
can get
anything
most
to
of the
go by.
transmogs still now for Legion, just not the Mage Tower ones.
Yeah, but there are some that are like really cool that you can't get anymore.
Like
So
what?
like, you know, I mean, when Classic gets to Legion, sorry guys, I'm out. I'm going back.
You don't get so like, as far as I'm aware, they haven't said that you're going to be able to transfer. So far, nothing you earned in the classics have transferred over to your main account. So if you
No,
like
but
transmogs
no,
and
I mean remix.
Yeah, didn't Mop Remix give
Yeah.
you transmogs?
Yeah, but
Yes.
they didn't have challenge mods, right? Like he's talking about
No.
classic. So you're not going to be able to get like the Mage Tower stuff, for example, in
No.
Legion
No.
Remix.
Look, when Classic gets to Legion, it doesn't matter because then I'm in Classic. Like that.
You
That's
talked
it.
about Legion Remix, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
no. Okay, I'm so confused.
Classic MOP is what you're playing, and then classic Legion is gonna be the next
It's
one.
not classic because you're not playing under
No.
the
I'm
same...
saying. Sorry. I'm saying that when Classic eventually gets to Legion,
Yeah.
I will be playing Classic.
Fine.
But currently, when Remix is out, I mean, I do want to try that. But if we don't get any like transmog appearance from Remix, I'm
So you
sad.
do. So what you get from Remix is you get transmogs, and there'll be other. There was like a unique, like a mixture set that was only available from Remix, and also all of the mounts that are like super hard. Basically, you know the mounts
Yeah,
where
like
you
the
have to go.
golden astral dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Or like mounts that you have to farm, like mythic version or like heroic version that have like 1% drop chance. You can basically just farm them in Legion by actually like farming the currency and then buying them from a vendor, which basically means you can get all the cool mounts from that expansion. So it's definitely worth if you're a
On
collector of like mounts.
your retail account.
Yeah, because what happens at the end of because Remix is like a limited time event. At the end of it, that character basically moves onto your main game.
Okay.
That's why people also use it as a leveling tool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, I hope. Then I just really hope that they will, when we go into this Remix private server, that we will be able to do a bunch of that, like artifact, weapon, legendaries.
I'd be
stuff.
surprised if they let you get the Mage Tower ones because they didn't give you challenge mode transmogs for doing the MOP one. So I would be surprised if they give you the limited time ones. They may do, but I would be surprised.
Yeah, they might
I
do like
I
a
wouldn't
recolor or something.
I wouldn't be sad. I would be a little bit sad, but I wouldn't be too sad if we can't get the Mage Tower stuff, because I respect that people can have some like cool shit that only they, can have because it's not available anymore.
And it wasn't
Even
hard.
though I'm kind of sad.
Keep that shit. I feel like anyone should be able to go back and do it as long as it's under the same like sort of strict, somewhat strict.
That's fair. But I
balancing or whatever.
okay, I'm for both sides. I'm on the fence again.
It feels cool to
I'm
have something that you cannot get anymore. As someone who played at the time, I feel the same thing about like challenge mode sets and Legion stuff. But it sucks that I didn't. Well, the Legion ones, I was happy with the ones that I got. The challenge modes, I wish I had done more at the time because it's still you can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
You are very proud of your auction house mount.
Yeah. That's what happens when you get the good one and not the fucking pay to win one.
Dude, I wish I got the pay to win one. I need one of them.
I'm sure they'll bring another one back. Don't worry. That one was so successful. I'm sure they'll bring it back every year, every expansion or whatever.
I saw the memes about the pay to win summon stone.
God,
Pay
a
to
mount
win
with a summon stone on it. That'd be hype.
Yeah, it's like you
Okay.
can buy us like a little summon stone toy. Let's see summon stuff. And the meme
Warlocks
was
actually
and the meme
getting
was like you buy it, but then I think it was like there was like charges, so you had to like keep it consistent. Yeah, keep on paying a sub for it or whatever. It's funny.
All right.
So yeah,
Well,
talking about like collecting stuff. We're gonna and like collecting mounts, collecting transmogs. The next thing we're gonna be collecting is actually items. Some lovely cutlery for the house. Brings us on to talking about yeah,
Let's go.
we're
There's
gonna have
no
our
way.
houses.
No way I could be miserable about this one, boys. Lock in. This is gonna
Yeah.
be good. This is good. I am very excited. I don't know if you guys have seen what they can do with the new housing system in the videos they've shown, but it's looking very good.
I've heard a lot
haven't
of
seen-
excited people.
Yes.
I haven't seen anything. I've
So
only seen like streamers talk about, or like they've gotten their hands on some previews.
did you play Wildstar?
No.
Oh. Well, it's very similar to that, and also Final Fantasy, I would say, is actually, from what I've seen, it looks like it gives you more freedom than what you have in Final Fantasy, really, because I don't know if you've ever done any Final Fantasy housing, but you basically end up using a bunch of mods to get your house to look the way you want it to look. And it doesn't look like it's going to be necessary here.
That's good. Yeah.
But I did hear that it was basically like a garrison. Felt very garrison-y.
That's not the vibe I was getting personally.
Okay. I mean,
The
I've only
buildings
heard
look
things.
similar to
I
the
haven't
garrison
looked at.
ones.
I haven't
They look
looked at
similar.
anything.
The buildings?
Personally. Yeah.
I mean, that's just the WoW art style, right?
Fair.
The buildings
Fair.
are going to look similar because the similar
I
game.
don't have a
well,
problem
same
with the
game.
way. I'm just saying the buildings look similar, like from the outside on the inside, to like the garrison ones in WoD. They just look like you have like more customization, which I think is fine. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Also, I don't know about this neighborhood stuff. I remember they mentioned it previously. I haven't looked into it too much, but I'm not sure how they're going to do the neighborhoods. Like, can you just have everyone? You can't have everyone, right? You're going to have to select a certain amount of people, I guess.
Mm.
I have no idea.
Or will we have a guild one, like where everyone in
guild,
the guild
maybe?
is? Yeah, I have no idea. I'm interested to see how they solve it.
I have a feeling it's gonna be random, like just a random shard or something that you put on that's permanent.
Hmm.
I hope you just don't
But
have to pay like a subscription for it or whatever.
They
Yeah.
did
Make new
say
friends.
the outside of your house is not connected to the inside of your house.
What?
And I wasn't entirely sure what that even meant, but I think it's to do with the fact that
Is this Hogwarts?
they don't want to have the inside of your house is not limited basically by the way that you're outside of the house.
I think
Yeah, so it's like Harry
Side of it?
Potter with the
From-
handbag that increases like infinitely.
Sounds like
yeah,
Harry Potter to me.
from what I heard, it was because. So again, go back to like the Final Fantasy one. If you have there is a small, medium, and large house, and it does actually affect the size of your house inside. So I'm assuming they mean that you can like adjust the outside to look the way you want, but you can go in and have the layout be like however you'd like it to be. At least I hope that's what they mean.
That's cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we can only hope for the best, right? We can only hope that they're absolutely knocking it out of the park. It's customizable in every way that we want it to be. I don't even know what kind of cool stuff I would want. What I'd like the most about the housing stuff is the community aspect, right?
Yeah, that's what
Like,
I'm thinking.
I don't want a house for myself. I want a house where you're hanging out. But I guess
Neighborhood,
that's
yeah.
also like
I think you can invite people,
maybe
though, right?
RPing with the boys.
That's what Wildstar was like. Wildstar's housing was really, really cool. I really liked it. It was like I really quite liked the fact that you could have like jumping puzzles. I think you could, from memory, it's a long time ago since we played it. I think you had like jumping puzzles and stuff that you could set up like locations of where you want them to be. You could have gathering nodes inside your house. I think you could have like target dummies and stuff, some other bits and bobs, and like obviously you could have items that you want to place in certain locations and stuff like that. I was feel like it'd be really cool if you had what is it called? You know when you kill an animal and you got their head and you can like put it on the wall. I feel like that'd be really
Trophy.
cool. Yeah, like a
Ooh.
head trophy, but for like bosses. Like every boss that you've got from like heroic or like a cutting edge or something.
I vaguely
That'd be really
remember
cool.
in the
Dude, that's
trailer
crazy when
there
you.
was an Onyxia trophy where she was hanging on the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
things like that. That'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, that's crazy that you're gonna have Jane on.
Yeah,
I don't know about
fuck
that one, bro.
it. Yeah, fuck it, dude.
No, don't do that.
Why not?
So they haven't.
Well, you don't kill Jada.
Oh, I guess
Hmm.
that's true. I guess that's true.
So they haven't. When in regards to neighborhoods, they haven't fully said how it's going to be allocated. But they say they're like designing them with the social element at its core because they want players coming back together and spending time like and to feel that other people are there, not like garrisons. And they're also saying that each neighborhood will have around like 50 houses.
It's a
And
lot.
then it
That's
also
way
says
more.
you can move to a different neighborhood, so it seems like there is some choice, but it won't be easy. You'll have to rebuild your entire house.
Oh, okay.
So,
Ooh.
but then that gives me the fact that you can move makes me think that okay, so you can choose who you're living with. So we could all move into like the same neighborhood.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I would assume. Something that I was just thinking about is if they allow you to decorate like outside of your house and stuff, are they gonna start getting us back into where we was with garrisons, where you don't need to go out gathering and you don't actually interact with the world because you have your herbs growing in the
yeah, I don't know.
garden and you have a mine under your house where you can do your like get your ore. Like then they're kind of going
I
in the
think they're not
opposite
going to do that.
direction. Yeah,
I think they're not going to make them functional. I think it's purely going to be like an aesthetic thing. But I still feel
I
like
hope
they could
so.
have some like jumping puzzles or something cool that you can like set up. Basically,
Yeah.
just
But
give
I,
people the freedom to make kind of what they want
A
with it.
creative space.
Yeah,
but I think even if it was functional, I don't think that that's bad, right? Because the problem with garrisons was that you were just separated. Whereas if this is like if the neighborhood part is functional, you can just like
Well,
farm some vegetables together, like go mining together. Like the neighborhood
okay,
part is just like don't steal those mining ores. Like
you can
get
yoink
off.
someone else's carrots or something.
Yeah.
like in Legion, you had the class halls. How did the class halls feel? Were they like alive?
There were people there, but there wasn't. It wasn't like, yeah, me and all the warrior
Worse than
bros
you
are
would have thought.
together, or like me and all the
Yeah.
Death Knights are here hanging out. Like there was none of that. You're going there, you're doing what you need to do, and you're going back to your dungeons.
Yeah, you didn't
Yeah.
need to be there for very long, to be honest.
Mm. Well, I mean, I don't mind that, just as long as it feels like a place that's alive.
It did for the first like probably like month or two, and then after that, like people didn't need to be there, so they weren't really there.
Mm.
I guess all I really would like housing to be is where I would rather be instead of just flying in circles around Donegal.
Yeah.
Basically what I want housing to be.
Yeah. Somewhere you can just go and chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I think it's not going to be for me. I feel like it's something that should have been in the game for a long time. Same with like dyeing armor, which it does feel like that they are putting that in. You can dye like certain things, certain different colors. I don't know the full extent. I just saw a video about it, but you can dye like I don't know, like a fireplace. You can change the wood on the fireplace to like green or like brown or like silver or whatever. For example.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just reading here. They also mentioned about there's going to be benefits, so like housing benefits. It's not going to be player power, but it's going to be linked to utility. So they're saying that
Oh,
professions will get quite a lot from housing.
charging you council tax and shit.
Yeah.
Professions
come and
are
collect
gonna
your
gain
rubbish.
stuff from.
I think that could be good on the condition it's like a not isolated to you. If you could have your neighborhood be like you can all collectively agree to invest like what I don't know what the resource is. It's gonna work on a resource system, I would assume. But if you
Definitely.
like collectively agree to like invest resources in like mines and you can all actively like go into a mine in your neighborhood and actually mine ore, that would be pretty cool. I'm actually here for that. I don't mind that.
I think that's good. That would be really sick. And yeah, it's like basically how we used to live as human beings before, you know.
Yeah.
Like you grow carrots on your farm, I'll grow cucumbers, and we'll like
Trade.
trade. And
Yeah.
yeah,
It'd be pretty fun.
it's gonna be so good. But then we won't actually be trading because we just have one person in our guild who just does all the professions anyway.
Yeah, true.
Won't mention
Yeah.
any names, but
Yeah, I do hope that something comes with it. And something I do hope that comes with it is the like decorations. So again, I keep going back to it, but that's because it's like got the best system so far is the Final Fantasy housing. You can actually farm decorations and sell them, and I think that will be a huge like.
Do you think they would make a profession to?
Yes, they are. They are. Isn't that confirmed that they're making one?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure it's
no,
confirmed that they're
dude.
making one.
I'm gonna have to
You got a
run
new
around the whole
interior
game
decorator.
farming wood.
Yeah.
Pretty
I
much,
can make
dude.
planks.
Isn't that wasn't that what RuneScape did? I think that's what RuneScape did when it first came out.
parents
Yeah,
is
got
like,
it.
I've never played
Final
it.
Fantasy, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
farm
Final
trees.
Fantasy.
I'm starting my own.
Carpenter.
Gonna get that professor, carpentry and cooking, and then I'm gonna open WoW Kia, where we sell meatballs and furniture for your house.
He's fully integrated.
Wait, I'm suddenly on board. Yeah. I don't know. Sounds.
Well, I'm glad we've got at
I
least
hope
one
it's-
topic I'm just purely positive about. Thank you for that, Dan.
I hope it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think this is going to be one of those things that's really difficult to mess up. Like, so far I've heard nothing but positive, and everything I've read seems very good.
Yeah, agreed. You have so many other games that you can just draw on, from like Animal Crossing to WildStar to Final Fantasy, like.
Stardew
And
Valley.
you have the assets in the game already, so.
That might have been part of the issue, to be honest, for WoW. Like, WoW was at its best, right, when it was just stealing from everyone and then making it better, basically.
That's just the Blizzard
And then-
mantra.
But they reached a point where they became the industry leader for MMOs, right? And then they were like, oh, now we need to like actually do wholesale innovation, and that was never our expertise.
Yeah. That's why they left this for so long, housing, because they were like, we need everyone to get far as they can ahead of us, so that we can release it when we're behind and take the ideas. Which
Yeah.
I'm
What
here
a
for.
great strategy. What a wonderful, just great strategy. They're so smart.
Yeah. Do we have any last or final thoughts to really hit it home? No pun intended. Hey,
Hey.
the end of the podcast.
No, I think I'm good.
I think that's it for me.
I'd rather end on a high. I don't want to find something to moan about.
Oh, sounds good. Housing. Let's go.
Give me my mess tier trinkets.
I'm gonna be sad that I'm not gonna be there tomorrow to when you guys kill the boss, but I'm glad you guys are doing it.
Be there in spirit, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks
Yeah.
everyone for joining for another episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.